everyone to the Sud de France Arena live from Montpellier, Occitanie in France. It is time for the LEC to take over the stage as we're kicking things off with the Mad Lions facing off against Fnatic for a spot in the grand finals tomorrow. We're taking over because we were already here yesterday, and in fact, I am joined by the most recent EMEA, I should say, champion, Casey Caliste. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yamato, of course, thank you for joining as well. Caliste, it's so great to see you. Also, just congratulations. Now that you've slept on it, I guess, how do you look back on everything yesterday?
I mean, I couldn't be happier that we won yesterday. It's a lot of work that we put in these 5 months. We made a really good, good team environment. That's really, I think it really made the difference yesterday. Because we won 2 games and then we lost 2 games by a bit choking. We a bit choked everyone, but then we just knew that the 5th game we will just win it because there is something in K-Corp that if you are in game 5 you can't lose.
Okay, Yamato, I mean, that is a hard thing. You know, you've been in that position, but great by them to pull it off.
100%. It got a little bit crazy there in the game 3 and 4 for sure, but when the Owen came out, you kind of knew, Maokai first pick as well for Synchro, the change up in strategy, removing and opening the Poppy. I feel like these champions are that kind of go-to when you need to win. We had Caliste, of course, and Zaya too. What made you guys switch up the pick and ban strategy so heavily coming into game 5?
Yesterday, I think MRS played a bit always the same draft, and so we did that bit also. So in the last game, we wanted to change the things a bit because we lost the 2 games. They would be confident on what they would play. So yeah, we decided to change the things a bit and play a bit of basic comp,
Okay.
And it went well.
Yeah, it went super well. It was, we were here yesterday, of course you were on the desk, but even watching, the crowd was insane. I know you have the headphones, of course, but tell me about the atmosphere in here that you could just sense.
I mean, yeah, it was really crazy. Even if I have the headphone, I still hear them a lot. And it was such a pleasure to play against the French, with the French crowd.
Maybe against yourselves when it wasn't working out.
With the French crowd, it really hypes a lot, and in K-Corp, we say that it's like a bit of a 6th player, the crowd.
Yeah, it definitely is. A question that I have is, do you guys scrim LEC teams at all? Or,
yeah, we do.
And the ones from this weekend, and do you have any insight?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We scrim a bit of everyone in LEC. And for today, I think the best team that we played against was probably Mad Lions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We hear that they're pretty sick in scrims, right?
Well, that's very new as well. Because
that's also new, you're right.
Mad Lions usually run it down in scrims. The last couple of years, if they're winning in scrims, that's definitely a big plus. What was it that stood out for you when scrimming Mad Lions? What is it that is going to be the edge today?
Without secrets. But, we can't stop you.
I think the really big evolution is Karzi, I think, this year. I think Karzi is really playing good, their bot lane is really strong, and Niski also is really good, I think. So we have Eluya and Chasey that are always good, and then if Karzi and Niski are really good, everything should be good.
Yeah. Overall, we're kind of poaching you already because you're on the English desk now, but how are you dealing kind of with all so much praise? It's really insane, and I think it's all very, very deserved, but I can imagine maybe it's a bit overwhelming, or do you just let it happen?
It's really cool and I like it, but I don't really I have to take care a bit of it because if you listen too much about it and everything, it could go. You could get too much ego maybe, and it will go bad. So I like it, but I don't really look at it much.
Yeah,
just a bit.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's funny that he's making his first LEC appearance here. I know it's not going to be the last one because watching Caliste's entire year, I know this is a player that's going to move up in the world. I think it's just a perfect start to a career.
He's like, I don't know anything. Indeed. But to be fair, playing in the LFL and being able to play on the big stages like this also for EMEA Masters, it is exactly what you deserve, and we're excited for your future. But one last prediction I do have to know, since you said you scrimmed all 3 of them, so is anyone beating G2 tomorrow?
I don't think so.
No?
I think G2, they can lose some games because they're cooking some stuff and everything, but I think G2 is the best team in Europe right now.
Okay. Yamato, you agree? It's kind of a
I have
primer
to-
for
I
the
have
weekend.
to agree. I think it's been true the whole year, and why shouldn't be true tomorrow too?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations
Thank you.
once again for Casey and Calist, who is popping off. And this week, we also released the final pop quiz episode of the year. Let's check it out.
So next, do you know lore, story of champions?
Yeah, I really like it.
I mean, a bit.
Zero. Literally zero.
Oh my god, zero idea.
I will describe some champions to you based on their lore and also some info about them. And you need to tell me who the champion is. Some of the tips are not lore, those might help more. So, first one. This champion is from Noxus, and Noxus's goal for this champion was for them to be able to defeat their biggest enemy, Mordekaiser. So this champion was trained to be able to beat Mordekaiser.
Velvet.
I know very little about Nox.
I only know Darius from Noxus, so...
Darius?
I'll flip it. Darius.
Not Darius.
Okay, nice.
I'm gonna say Swain.
Ruberang.
Zion.
So this champion was subjected to a mid-scope rework. This champion was released in 2020, and it is a support.
What was I doing in 2020? I was in Mouse, and the support came out in 2020.
Which unbalanced supports came out 3 years ago? I need to think right now.
Renato's for sure not 2020, let's think.
He's unique, not to support.
A support. And he's supposed to kill Mordekaiser.
But someone who's able to defeat Mordekaiser, like this guy, is big in the lore, actually. He's really strong.
Oh, Cap is gonna be so mad. And Mickey.
I mean, I'm just gonna say something, but it's probably wrong. Pike?
I give in, I don't know. I need more clues.
So this champion is female.
Yeah.
The champion's title is the Iron Maiden. And during development, when the champion was being developed, the internal code name was Int Horse.
Int Horse.
Inting horse. Not Soraka. I don't know.
Oh, Rel.
Rel?
The Rel's from Noxus?
And she was made to beat Mordekaiser, but no way she could beat him. No?
Oh my god. I was thinking of like support that can actually kill Mordekaiser. I don't imagine Lulu killing Mordekaiser.
All right,
That's a spicy one.
the next one. This is one of the original 40 champions in League of Legends.
Wow.
And this champion is between 1025 and 1080 years old.
What?
How can that help me?
But it's like all the dead people, they're like so old now. Like all this, like Amumu and Nocturne.
Annie.
What can I say? Amumu.
Maybe Kassadin?
Galio.
Jillian?
Anivia?
I cannot even name you 10 first champs in the game, so I need another clue.
This champion's apprentice was corrupted by a world rune and became Brand. This champion is a staple in professional play and is associated with players like FLICKR or Doinby. And this is a champion that has a lot of spells that scale with mana.
Oh, FLICKR. Alright. It's Rice.
Oh, Rice.
Nice.
We know you guys like pop quiz. Hello, Montpellier! So, we wanted to have a special edition of pop quiz on stage, but with OTP casters versus LEC casters. So, messieurs, madame, Ender. Team names, please. What is your team name? Let us know.
We thought a lot about it and
Yeah.
we took Tuck Freton.
Tuck Freton. Okay.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. Shocks?
I think that's a great name.
Thank you.
We also thought about it very long and hard, and it will be Chocolatine.
Chocolatine.
Half the stage
Thank you.
booing, half applauding.
I told you. Perfect. I told you they wouldn't like it. Okay, so the rules are simple. It's 3v3. You send a caster, you send one person. Also, they're gonna 1v1. I'm gonna ask a question. The first one who has the answer presses this. You wanna try it? There you go. It works. All right.
All right.
Who do you wanna send first? Toc Freton.
We are
I was
okay.
about to mess it up.
They sent the worst one to begin
All
with.
right.
Me?
I go? I
You
can
should go. You should
All
go.
right.
Yamato, do you wanna go? Okay.
I'm gonna
Alright.
choke so
Noah?
hard.
Damn.
All right. Which French player has played the most LEC games in history?
LEC player. Still playing.
You can ask more questions.
No.
Hey, what is this?
Stop bending the rules like this. Just answer. LEC, LCS, let's say
Can I
European.
steal it? Can I steal it?
Yeah,
Go on.
you can. Yellow star.
No.
Oh, I was about to go about that one.
But the audience has it. Do you guys have it? Est-ce que vous avez la réponse?
It's not yellow star.
I heard it. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the option. Hans Sama, SOAS, Cabochard, Yellow Star.
SOAS.
That's correct.
I didn't know I could press again. I didn't know I could press again.
Okay,
I didn't know.
Please
That
God,
sucks for
save
a
us.
bit.
I thought you were right.
Take a second. All right.
I thought it was yellow.
In 2017 summer, the LEC finals headed to France. Name the teams in the final and the 5 players that lifted the trophy. 2017 Paris.
2017?
Okay,
You
so
got
first
it.
up, who was playing in finals, Chuck?
Good luck.
Come on.
Good luck.
Why would you press the...
I don't know. I was there.
It's FLICKR, Kuma, you see. The Shy.
Wait, okay. Educated
Talking
guess.
about good players. Players who
Fnatic?
win finals. Sorry?
Fnatic?
2017
I can't remember anything. I'm
All
trying
right.
so hard, man. Yeah, okay.
All right.
We're all done.
Give me some options, please.
20. There's no options here.
There's no option.
No. There's no options here.
Wait, okay,
I
let's
remember-
count.
All right,
Can
all right.
we work
Let's
as a
count back,
team?
let's
I will give you
Yes,
the first one. It was G2 Misfits. Who was part of this G2 lineup? Come on.
Just click it. Come on,
Good
I
job.
didn't know it.
Can we share knowledge?
Ok, appelle à un ami.
They are cheating. Let me cheat.
Cheating is a
Then,
bad.
Mithy, Perks,
Yeah?
Trick, Expect.
Yeah! Correct! All right.
Congratulations. I'm ashamed. And I should be.
Zerotic,
Wait,
you're
so
next.
hard to remember.
Ender, you're next as
turn.
well.
It's very hard. It's one.
Which player has secured more than 1 pentakill in the LEC this year?
You just wanted to press
I have the options. I'm gonna give you guys the options.
Hey, they
You
are
have-
cheating already.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I want to hear the
Crowny, Karzi, Comp, Hans Sama.
Come.
No.
Trying to give him a chance.
Do you guys have it in the audience?
No, you can't help. Yeah, you can.
Karzi?
Okay.
Crowny.
Nobody gets points. We go next. You
Oh.
guys suck, honestly. And it was Crowny. You had it.
All right.
You should be on
Of
stage
course,
instead of
man.
Yeah.
Very
All right,
meta.
next one.
We're awful.
Look, I just missed the question like Crowny.
Which champion was picked the most in LEC this year? Sejuani, Nautilus, Cassante, Zeri.
Sejuani.
There you go!
Settle down. You got this.
They're not doing so well,
Get in
are
there,
they?
Shucks.
No. Oh.
Shucks, what is going on?
I totally didn't. What? Nothing.
Yeah, I saw
All
the
right.
question as well.
Side as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many total LEC titles do French players have? 7, 10,
All of them.
13, or 16?
She just press and go.
Dude, like,
It's not it's legal. It's legal, right?
12.
It's legal.
it is not 12. There's no 12 here.
Wait, there's no 12.
What are you doing?
13.
13, that is correct.
No! That's what I meant.
Zit, I
Killing
know.
us, Yamato. You're killing us.
Guys, that's not.
Your team is trolling you.
What are you doing?
I'm also trolling myself,
this,
but
I got
it's
this.
fine.
You got this. All right. What is the most built mythic item in the LEC this year? Gale Force, Divine Center, Radiant Virtue, or Shurelia's Battle Song? Go ahead. Wait, no, you
I
have
think
it.
I got in there,
Okay.
yeah.
sorry. Biased here. Oh,
Gale
come
Force.
on.
Gale Force. No?
Whatever.
No, not at all.
Yeah?
Radiant Virtue.
That is correct once again.
Should be nerfed.
He carries in every game.
I'm going back to OTP after this. You guys suck. Honestly.
Okay.
This is why we
All
need
right.
you,
Yeah,
okay?
long, please.
Question 7. How many French players have played in the season finals? 3, 4, 5, or 6?
5.
That is correct. Thank you. Finally.
Okay.
Any words on your performance so far?
I am very disappointed, but you know, it's because I love you as colleagues, so I want to give.
We're all one
Thank
big
you.
Yeah.
team, really.
Really,
It's
we're
okay,
big,
so
big
stay
team
hard,
effort.
stay hard. We're gonna win.
Yeah, okay.
You have to answer everything correctly if you want to have a tie.
Okay.
All right.
And this time we just go for each other.
Which player?
No team?
No team, just
Okay. Okay, Zero. Okay.
Ready?
Oui.
Ready? Which player has the highest KDA in the LEC this year? Hansama, Noah, Yike, or Upsets?
No, don't cheat. Don't.
Do you guys have it?
Noah.
Yes! Yes?
No!
What? What?
This is upset.
That is Upset in the... Oh,
You got bamboozled.
Insane team. Insane team.
it's so doomed.
He played less.
My team. My
Very true.
team.
That's very true.
All right, guys,
Report.
last question.
Report.
Only this one counts. Deal?
No
Only
deal.
one, no.
No deal, I'm French.
All or nothing. Everything on this one. No. When was the last time a French player won the LEC MVP and who was it?
Hansama.
No. No.
Oh my lord.
No!
Borakim, aka Yellow Star.
MVP.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, good. Do you guys have it? No?
Yeah, we got it, we got it.
You have okay, this guy has
Vincent Berrier.
Vincent Berrier, thank you.
Vincent
That's
Berrier.
Now, guys, you tried. Thank you for coming.
I think it was
That's
rigged.
why I'm here and not competing.
Thank you for winning at home.
Good choice. Good
Merci
choice.
beaucoup. I don't think it's worth counting, guys. I don't think it was even a match. OTP wins.
Great game. Great
Congratulations,
It was
guys.
mostly about friends.
Yes.
We couldn't lose.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
dear
much.
host.
Thank you. Thank you for saving it. Thank you, Montpellier. And after the break, we will intro tonight's matchup between Fnatic and the Mad Lions. But first, let's check out a special announcement.
Bonsoir Montpellier and welcome everybody who's joining us from around the world. I'm Max, Director for League of Legends Esports, and before we jump into the action tonight, we wanted to take a moment to reflect on what has been one of the biggest seasons in League of Legends Esports history after the massive changes we introduced this year. At Riot, we are extremely passionate about delivering the best possible experience for our pro players, their teams, our partners, and first and foremost, of course, you, our fans. The changes we made this year were a huge bold bet, and the overwhelmingly positive response from our fans exceeded even our highest expectations. That being said, we have of course also seen the constructive feedback you shared, especially in the second half of the season, which is why we're going to make adjustments to both the scheduling of our breaks as well as the way that the teams are qualifying into season finals. We do that because we want to ensure that the 2024 season of the LEC is even more exciting than this year. Talking about excitement, I have to mention the incredible EMEA Masters finals between Movistar Riders and Karmine Corp yesterday night. When we made the decision last year to introduce EM finals to our roadshow, this is exactly what we were hoping for. Massive congratulations to Karmine Corp, who secured their 4th title in front of the home crowd. The atmosphere was electric and the blue wall was truly a sight to behold. Now we've still got 2 days of exciting competition ahead of us, so I'll pass it over to Artem to walk you through what's in store for you.
Cheers, Max, and hello everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Artem, Commissioner of the LEC. This year, we've got a whole lot in store for our fans joining us here in person in France and watching us from home. In just a few moments, Mad Lions will face Fnatic, battling it out for a spot in the grand final. There, the winner will face the old foe G2 Esports for a chance to claim the LEC Crown Trophy and the first seed spot at Worlds 2023 in Korea. Elsewhere, we're introducing on-site co-streaming for the very first time at our roadshow event. We also bring back the LEC Expo, and we are joined by our partners from Fortiche at the event itself. It wouldn't be the LEC roadshow without the opening ceremony, and this year, we truly believe we've got the best one yet. I'd like to give you a sneak peek of what we have in store, but I really don't want to jinx it. And finally, the roadshow may only just be beginning, but we wanted to give you something to get excited about next year, right here and right now. We are delighted to reveal that for our 2024 LEC Season Final Roadshow, we are heading to Germany. I'll see you there.
München, Munich, a beautiful city known around the world for Oktoberfest, Lederhosen and pretzels. But I'm not quite sure. Entschuldigung, sprechen Sie English?
Well, I can try.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering, what else is there to do in the city of Munich?
You could try this.
or this?
I mean, that's great and all, but it doesn't have my favorite thing in the world, the LEC.
Well, actually...
No way. When is it happening?
Munich, 2024. Servus.
Servus. I mean, to be fair, this isn't too bad either. Prost.
There's no time for redemption. Those flags you wave, will they hold up? Don't cry for your vengeance. It's right there to take. Oh, if you want it, the world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Go and rise for your nation. There's so much at stake. Will you show up? Oh, it's about damn time for a little salvation. Those flags you wave represent them. The world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive.
Oh, fantastic. My man, are you excited to be back in the stadium today?
Yeah, super excited.
Listen, a lot of fans are expecting Fnatic to win. What would you say to them?
I think they're wrong.
They're wrong? Trimpy, my man, how you doing, Trimpy? Stop for a quick second.
Yeah.
Listen, you're coming into the arena. You know, I saw you watching the games yesterday, KC and Movistar.
Exactly.
What does it mean? How do you feel playing for Fnatic in front of this crowd?
I mean, the crowd was really amazing yesterday, and I hope that it will be pretty much similar today. And yeah, if they're gonna be like this, then it's gonna be a lot of emotions, to be fair.
Bro, you're back on stage. It's so good to see you again. What was the last raid that you played, and how are you doing in League?
moment?
Oh, it's been a while. It's been kind of dead on that front for a little bit. I mean, I didn't expect to be here, but I'm really happy to be back on stage. I mean, it's always really fun to be playing at a roadshow, and I kind of did the 0 to 100% speed run real quick, you know.
Kazi, did they let you play the fanfic today?
They did.
They did?
Yeah.
So Mad Lions undefeated since the fanfic?
Yes.
Can we get a new fanfic if you win today?
Of course.
That's
and
what I
for
wanna
G2
hear.
as well.
That's what I want to hear. Cheers. Thank you so much. Mac. Yeah, we always hear from you. Go. Good luck. Cheers. Niski. Okay, listen, last one. My man. How does it feel playing in front of the crowd, playing in front of French fans, especially after I know you were watching yesterday's series?
I mean, it feels insane, to be fair. Yesterday gives me like goosebumps, and I feel like it gave me so much motivation because seeing FLICKR win, first of all, made me happy.
Noah, are you excited? Are you nervous for the fans today?
I'm not nervous, excited.
That's what I want to hear. Guys, thank you so much. What are you going to do to deliver for the fans? Give me something in English, give me something in French.
Les gars, je vais tout donner, vous inquiétez pas. Aujourd'hui, on va battre Fnatic, et demain, c'est la finale.
Thank you so much, Niski. Best of luck today. Bring it home.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Continue with the show, guys.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Trevor. That's so much fun. Of course, the basics out of Niski's gonna beat Fnatic today, and then tomorrow is the final. He didn't say he was gonna beat G2. Anyways, we're back at the desk, and there is here. He's joined us also after the quiz. Veri, Yamato, first, Veri.
After humiliating
Yeah,
myself.
sorry, Veri. I'm sure you would have done a lot better.
Why, was he bad?
We were all bad.
I thought
We were
Han
all
Sama
bad.
had one MVP.
Yeah, he should have.
Because, like, he should have. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's whatever.
Yeah, let's pretend like it was all my fault. Sure, yeah.
So let's talk about the weekend a little bit, and let's start with the teams today, but maybe also talk about G2 if there's anyone you would like to mention. I did hear that the fanfic, it actually got posted on the official
Yeah,
Mad
I saw
Lions
shivers
account.
running down the spine just seconds before we went live here. So that had shivers running down my spine.
Who knows? I'm just going to throw someone out there who I am personally very excited to see. We also saw an interview. It's Trimby, you know, in the Fnatic jersey. He has the memories of playing in Malmö and winning that trophy, but it's going to be great to see him play.
Yeah, I mean, how can we not be excited to see Trimby back on the stage? Last year, you're seeing the trophy lift. He's a player that I think a lot of fans have become a fan of because of how personable he is, how humble he is as a player. Even in his defeats, he feels very strongly about shaking the hands of his competitors, and he's a player that I think a lot of people were excited to see lift that trophy. The fact that he joined Fnatic, I think, was the biggest surprise of this year.
That's the huge thing, right? Because pre-Trimby, Fnatic didn't really look like they even had a shot to be here. Post-Trimby, they are looking like an actual contender. He has been fantastic down the bot side next to Noah.
And I want to follow up. I feel like the storyline that is so, synonymous with what the LEC is just watching Caps build a greater and greater legacy. In my imagination, the LEC and Europe, the league is going to live on for many, many years, and there's going to be a time where Caps is going to retire, and then all of the players that want to achieve the GOAT status of Europe are going to have to climb the mountain that is Caps' achievements. Now he's walking into the finals, and he's looking to cement his 10th. That's
just insane. It's like,
crazy.
If you want to win LEC, you should probably A, not be a mid laner because you're just going to lose, and then B, you probably need to find a way onto a team with Caps.
Or you could move to ADC because you're on a team with Caps.
Oh, Merck's new.
Yeah,
I like
he
it.
knew.
I like it.
But it's so cool, and I think that's a great point because it's Caps through different iterations of his teams, both in, of course, starting in Fnatic, but also G2, and adjusting his play accordingly. Of course, he's never been. You can't be at the top 100% on the time, but he's been on the top a lot more than all the players around them.
Yeah, and I mean, for so long, like, that's the craziest thing is how he can do it with so many different pieces around him, right? Because the last few years, he's had the GOAT jungler in Europe right next to his side, and yet this year he comes in with a fresh face, rookie Yike. Yike is my guy that I'm looking at coming into this weekend because he has been so stellar throughout the year, playing a lot of more, like, aggressive jungle picks, the Bel'Veth, the Kha'Zix, farming junglers, but he was almost the identity of G2 immediately when he joined the team in Winter and when they lifted that first trophy.
It's just beautiful to see that amount of trust into a player that is coming in. They didn't shape him according to the other players. They allowed him to shape himself within the roster. And I think as a rookie player that has risen to stardom through the LFL and now in the G2 roster, I think they gave him the perfect start to his career in the LEC.
I think you summarized it beautifully because when we saw Yike coming in, obviously people were excited, but the shoes he had to fill were absolutely massive, right? And the
Large
fact-
shoes. Yanko's got
He's got them Shaquille O'Neal shoes.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about, right? And
Size
Yike
54.
he did an incredible job of not only being able to fill those shoes, but also help G2 find a brand new identity. His journey has been an incredible one to watch. But for me, it's got to be Wonder. The fact that he's come back, yeah, he is subbing in, but the responsibility now falls onto him, right? He has to be someone that, when we look at Oscar Rinnin, he's developed a lot with this Fnatic roster, but now he as a player needs to kind of do what Oscar Rinnin did, be a carry, be a weak side, be that flexible player, and delve into that history. Remember, this was the organization that he was benched from earlier this year.
And it's like the most gangster thing ever to do. Just jump in, play good. I think they are lucky that Wunder was ready to go and he had, you know, a little bit of a break from World of Warcraft.
I mean, yeah, it's also, it's big of him, right? Because he could have said, you know what, no. You can fix your own problems, but he didn't, and he got better game after game. You know, we have a little bit more time. I think there's so many players. Of course, Niski, the Belgian with the honorary Frenchman.
I'm like, Niski's a good shout. Carzy was going to be my shout because this man has just been an unkillable, like, teamfight monster all throughout the
Makes your spine shiver.
Look, Carzy's making everybody's spine shiver, and he's snapping the spines of his enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good shout.
Maybe not with that face.
I mean, the confidence that this player exudes every time he's on stage.
I mean, the way he navigates those wires even.
Yeah, like intertwines the wires with the delicate touch of an ADC.
Most delicate.
Yes.
Anyway, you guys should follow Carzy on Twitter.
Yes.
That's all we're going to say.
This is why I think, overall, let's finish maybe with like a thought for the weekend that we have ahead of us. It is Fnatic or Mad or G2. And if I had a penny every time that Fnatic, Mad, and G2 since 2020 have been in the top 3 at the end of the playoffs, I'd only have 2 pennies, but it's still impressive that it happened twice. And I think it's cool to know that these are like 2 orgs, G2 and Mad, that have been the winningest in the last couple of years, and a Fnatic who kind of slipped their way back in there, which is impressive in its own right.
It certainly is. The fact that when we look at these organizations, we think of them as international mainstays, right? We look at these organizations, and over the recent years, they have been Europe's representatives. And while Europe has struggled a little bit internationally, these are the orgs that we turn to kind of put our trust in. I think big eyes are on Mad this weekend, though, to solidify that trust, because obviously fans will always have their question marks around the Mad Lions, whereas Fnatic, it's about rebuilding that story, returning to the finals, and being able to contend with G2. We haven't had a G2 Fnatic best of 5 all year. I know a lot of fans are hungry for one.
No, 100%. It's like, you know, when I was in Fnatic, we beat G2 twice, but then we lost in the big one, you know. It is what it is, you know, that when you are in those matches and the echoes of history is kind of pounding in the room as you walk into those matches, everything is heartfelt. And if you are bleeding the colors of your jersey, then you also feel the history as you play.
Yeah.
And that pressure, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Speaking of pounding in the room, 2 players with plenty of history are the Czech buddies, Carzy and Humanoid, who are standing by with more.
Thank you, Shox. Carzy, Humanoid, welcome to Montpellier. Thank you for joining me ahead of your game. Carzy, before we start, this is a broadcast interview. We're going to talk about Twitter, but be careful about what you say. I want to talk about the friendship between the 2 of you, because you won together and then you guys split up to other teams, and you guys are going to be reunited on stage today. So tell me about your friendship, and Carzy, what inspires you when you talk about Humanoid on Twitter?
Our real-life relationship inspires me, because what I'm saying on Twitter usually happens, you know, behind the curtains, behind our doors. So that's where I get the inspiration from.
Humanoid, anything to answer here? How close are you in real life? Is this a stage, or is it actually what happens backstage, as you said?
It is, yeah. It is exactly what happens in backstage. I mean, I wanted to keep it a secret, but I guess he just said it. He just said it publicly.
What do you like the most about Carzy?
I like... Actually, he's kind of funny, you know? You just look at him and you just have to laugh. Just, you know?
I'm going to take this as a good thing, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with his statement.
Yeah. Well, what do you like the most about Marek?
I like that I can do anything I want to him and he doesn't resist, you know? Like, I can pet him, you know, and cuddle him, and he will let me do it.
Okay. Slow down here. We're going to stop here. Focus a bit more about today, Carzy. You said that it was the first time you were going to play in an arena. How do you feel about it? What is the anticipation?
I'm very excited that I can destroy Humanoid in front of so many people.
God. Yeah? Is he gonna destroy you?
Well, so many fans don't know this, but Karzy has been known in the Czech league for kind of choking a lot before big games. So I would just give you one advice, like try to do maybe some throat exercises before the game so that you don't choke so much, and it's going to be all okay.
From friendship to hatred. I love it. Okay, let's focus on the love side though. What advice would you give Humanoid, and why do you think he's going to have the upper hand today against Mad Lions?
I mean, I hope that he's going to have a really good day, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult since he's playing against Nisqy. So I think he will show us some good performance, but in the end, like, even if Marek plays Pixel perfect, then we have Nisqy, you know.
Nesquik in the mid lane. What is going to make Fnatic better, Marek?
Fnatic better? It's probably going to be the fact that we have a Korean AD carry, which has been known to be the better region than EU, especially Czech Republic. So that is probably going to be the main factor in our victory today.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Best of luck on stage. Sharks, back to you.
Thank you so much. That was everything that we wanted it to be.
And more.
And more.
A lot more.
A lot more. In fact, we
so
got more.
Much detail.
Yeah. Love it though.
Hey, on and off the Rift, though, sparks fly between these
It's
two,
great
and
to
I imagine that the Rift is going to be electric today.
Yes.
Nice.
And okay, I'm going to we're going to stop the innuendos. We're going to leave them, and we're going to move into
No
the
more
more
innuendos.
serious
Yep.
part. It's going to be hard for us. Anyways, let's talk about the two teams. And we saw Humanoid and Karzy there. Fnatic up against Mad Lions. And let's look at the whole year. For Fnatic, it was roster mania. And it started out awfully, but they had 4 different starting lineups this year.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the beginning roster, Reckless is back. He even got a song once again.
Yeah.
The fans
Great
fans
song.
were excited.
Jake
Everyone was
song?
excited. Is this the return of Fnatic to the top spots? No, it wasn't. Winter was looking very rough immediately. Things with Rux and Reckless weren't working on the bot side of the map. They didn't really have a strong top side. They finished at the very bottom of the regular season. So moving into spring, one of the advantages of the change in format was that we could change rosters. So that's exactly what Fnatic did. They picked up ADVN. Many knew him from his time on XL. They brought in a bit of an unknown name in Oscarinin, and he didn't have the best start.
Yeah, but it was so brutal because Oscar comes into the league, and then every other team was like, actually, we just hate this kid.
Yeah.
And they just non-stop were ganking top lane. Like Razork was nowhere to be found. He was worried about mid lane and bot side of the map. And Oscar just got ganked over and over. But you saw in the second week Oscar was there. It looked a little bit better. He was stronger on the weak side. Then week 3, he played its more strong side, got some attention, looked good. And then come summer, he was just an absolute demon.
No, for sure. I think in terms of how everything just panned out in that particular split, I think it was crucial that they kept on to Oscarinin. But in terms of how everything played out, it was so dramatic in the end when they had that Nexus push against the Mad Lions. It was brutal. They were one flash away. Maybe if Oscarinin doesn't E like this, maybe if ADVN doesn't use his spells like that, maybe history would have changed. Maybe Fnatic would have had the same roster. Maybe this was the biggest blessing ever for them.
Yeah, maybe they don't. Maybe Mad Lions don't go on to win the title. Maybe they don't go to MSI. Maybe there's no 1647 meme. That could have changed.
Oh, man, why?
Oh, my word, it could have been so different. Yeah, the timeline could have looked different, but this is the timeline that we live in. And that meant that Fnatic said, this was not good enough for us. 8th place was not enough. So they made more roster changes. We heard from Humanoid in the interview, they did bring in a Korean AD carry.
Yep.
And they got the trade deals of trade deals, Ivan.
Oh my lord, this is the art of the deal. Trimby for ADVN, Trimby, previous LEC champion, really leveled up this team because the main thing that LEC Fnatic was lacking was a stable bottom side, and that has really enabled the rest of the roster. This was a fantastic change up for Fnatic.
And look, you talk about rewriting history. What if that trade never happened because they kept the roster? Are Koi here? I don't know. Trimby's the GOAT. I don't know.
It's crazy. And we all know. Oh, cute. We all know what happened. Of course, Fnatic, they still didn't have the kind of best start, but they turned it around in a miraculous way. It's really crazy. They seem like a team possessed, and now they find themselves in the top 3 at the end of this year here at the season finals.
And to even make it here, they had to get that top 3 in summer. You don't appreciate, Excel was a team that had to make it to top 2 to even qualify. Fnatic had an equally difficult challenge that they managed to scrape in just barely.
And speaking of Fnatic, you know, the script writers at Fnatic, they use all of the old ones, you know. They brought in Reckless, they brought in the Storyline of struggling in spring, and then, of course, coming qualification to World Champion, there needs to be some drama. Oscarinin breaks his hand or whatever the hell happened. They did the SOA storyline all over again, and they brought in Wunder, and they've made so many changes. I feel like they squeezed in like maybe 5 seasons of gameplay into one.
And
it's
drama.
like, here you go. You know?
Drama.
It was pretty much a
Actually,
drama.
it's kind of a light year for a Fnatic fan with this with what happened here. It's like, amp it up. Anyways, let's go over to their opponents then. The Mad Lions, who had a very up and down year. And the downs were mostly before kind of the knockout games. And MSI, we don't really talk about that. And then the ups are very, very high, including a spring title.
I mean, at the very beginning of the year, they were competitive at the top of our league, right? We were impressed with what they were showcasing. Coming into spring, we thought that they would maintain that performance while their regular season struggled. It seems that in the playoffs, they were really able to level up. And in the first half of the year, overall, the impressions were positive of the Mad Lions.
They just showed Niski on the big screen here. That's why everybody.
And there's still a lot of fan support for the Mad Lions, but MSI, obviously, questions started to arise once more.
100%. I feel like Mad Lions as a team, you know that they have the potential to be great. You know they have the potential to upset a G2. I think that's their mindset too. I feel like when they are in those performance dips, they couldn't really, acclimate to performing worse. They always tried it and strive for better. And in the end, they had very low lows, but also very, very high highs.
Very high highs, and they get a bad rep because of the low lows, but they are, together with G2, the most successful team in recent history in the LEC. And I think we can say for both teams we see here today that they have ups and downs, but they are clutch. Is that correct?
I mean, you look at some of the players on Mad Lions roster, how can you sit there and look at a roster with El Yoya and Hylissang on it and not think clutch, right? These players have carved out their names in LEC history with what they've been able to do throughout their time. And that doesn't, it's crazy the potential that this roster always has, which is why you never really know what type of match you're going to get. Even we think back to the XL series, heavy favorites XL coming into that best of 5, quick 3-0 by the Mad Lions. The potential of this roster you can never quite predict, which is also what makes today so exciting.
Rewriting history. You didn't ask the whole class what you thought. I thought Mad were favorites in that matchup, but they were more convincing than what they did.
I was an Excel believer.
I know you were.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the same goes for
I also
Fnatic,
thought
I want to
Hans
say.
was MVP.
The same does go for Fnatic, I think. They are an organization that is a staple of European League of Legends, and in many moments they have been clutch. How true is that for the current lineup we have? Also knowing that you have an extra factor now in the top lane who has seen this a million times before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is it got more solid in a way, right? Like, obviously you want Oscar here playing, but in terms of no one is a guy that's never going to have any nerves. Wunder on the top side, right? Humanoid, oh my god, you've got Trimby on the bot side of the map too coming into summer. There's untested players, right, in a guy like Noah. Razork hasn't been into a final, but I've got a lot of faith in this roster to show up when it counts.
Yeah, so as we get closer to the matchup and then the player intros, let's talk lane by lane. Now you can vote on discord.lec.gg who you think has the edge in each matchup. And let's start in the mid lane perhaps. And perhaps with Niski, who just got a lot of cheers here because he, of course, is a Belgian, but he's an honorary Frenchman. And they love him here. And he's been such a core point of this Mad Lions lineup.
I think Mad Lions at their peak, I think that he did so well when he was the facilitator for the team. Considering the other players on the roster, I think when everything corrected around mid lane and Niski could play his Gragas, I think it kind of cemented this identity for him. I think the struggles for Mad Lions has been adjusting as a team towards, of course, what the new meta is, because Gragas did indeed get nerfed and that changed some things up. But at the same time, in that struggle, I don't think Niski has been the bad one. I think always when it comes to the Azir and all of the individual carries that he can play, I still think that he can perform. But the question is, how can Mad Lions kind of adjust to that new identity?
A lot of the bad rep that Niski gets is internationally, but domestically, he has sat at the top for a very long time. Remember that he did stay in, he initiated, he debuted in Europe alongside alongside you, Yamato. He then moved over to North America where he was able to win a title. He came back to Europe, quickly rose back to the top of the ranks. His capability, his flexibility, the way that he's grown as a player, it's difficult to underrate him because he always finds ways to compete with the top dogs.
Yes, apparently Discord can underrate him just fine because they said 82.4% vote for Humanoid. And I think the key when you're talking about Humanoid is those peaks, right? How does he go from Humanoid to Humanoid?
Well, this is the beauty, right? Because, I just think that when we think about Niski, obviously we do think a lot about international success, but when you look at Humanoid in particular, that is where he has really shown. Against international competition, against the best mids in the world, against those clutch moments, this is where we really see why Humanoid is a world-class mid laner.
Yeah, and Humanoid also is just a guy that will just dominate inside the lane, right? Will play aggressive picks, will look to like get support resources around him, whereas, you know, Niski's going to be playing those facilitators like you were talking about. Humanoid's a guy that'll look to win hard in lane, and then in the mid game, go gobble up resources around the map. Just nom 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 nom. Side lanes, jungle camps, everything. He's going to skyrocket ahead of you, and you won't even have seen him in the last 10 minutes.
100%. And I think after working with Humanoid, the main idea of the early game was how do we secure Humanoid? How do we put him in a ring 1v1 against the other opponent? Because in terms of laning, I think that no one is as sharp. Where he's weaker is how he connects and leverages advantage to then pressure the sides. But I think if Humanoid in the current meta, Azir, Tristana, Jace, if you get the farm, you get the resources, you carry games, and Humanoid delivers.
Yeah, let me ask you a follow-up then, Yamato. We have similar players who have some low lows, some mediocre moments, and some high highs, but nobody will bat an eye if you say this about Humanoid, but they will when you say it about Niski. Why do you think that is?
I think the key thing is always, I think the international thing is what always makes people remember.
Yeah.
We mentioned it before, right? Humanoid did compete against the Fakers and the Scouts even last year in the 1v1 lane phase. When we think of Niski's track record, those kind of sting, even on C9, you know, when he faced up against the G2 lineup, this is where things sting. But when it comes to being a mid lane in Europe, until you beat the Caps, until you beat the Perkses of old, not the same nowadays, before that happens, they're not going to consider you one of the elite.
Yeah, and we'll see today for that matchup, and then tomorrow, perhaps, of course, it'll be Humanoid or Niski up versus Caps. But let's look at the jungle as well. A Spanish duel there, Elyoya versus Razor, who had similar starts, I think, in the leagues, but their trajectory has differed a bit this year.
It certainly has. It's crazy how when Razork joined the league, everyone was excited about the potential, what he could potentially do. Rookie of the split, Misfit squad, he was showcasing a lot of really impressive stuff, but he couldn't actually win anything. Every time he tried to qualify for Worlds, he was often just that game short. He hasn't yet qualified for a final, always struggling in those semis, whereas Elyoya, in his debut, in a similar track record, back-to-back champions. The man just continued to win. So while both representing Spain, one had slightly more success than the other.
Yeah, although when you look at this year and sort of factor that recency into it, Razork is coming off of a fantastic summer, really good season final so far. Elyoya hasn't quite found that same success. I think a lot of this is, first of all, Razork having a fantastic year, really connecting well with a guy like Trimby, but also the meta factoring into it as well. Razork has looked class on those mage junglers, right? Those hard farming junglers. The Karthus he busted out last week was fantastic. The Talias of the world. He is looking to scale and dominate you later in the game, whereas Elyoya is taking the complete different approach and is like busting out the Jarvan in game 5 to get the job done in the early game.
There's definitely a clash of styles here. I think Elyoya, what he showcased against G2, because I think that best of 5 was essentially what we should expect from Mad Lions, considering, you know, the jump between, of course, the LEC summer playoffs and then now to the, of course, pinnacle of everything.
Yeah.
There was a quite bit of time, and now Elyoya, I think, in terms of how he plays, he wants to be active early game. He did so on the Ivan, did so on the Javan, while, as you mentioned, Razork is more of the farming type of guy who wants to hit those beats.
We saw also Razork last week. First, the Karthus didn't work, kept playing it, and dominated in that second game, adding some extra spice to this matchup once again, Ender.
Yeah, and honestly, like there's some options that Mad Lions have to play with here when it comes to the draft, right? Because you can ban away Talia, Karthus, the Iverns of the world, in which case we're going to go down. We're going to be seeing a lot of Sejuani and Maokai. That was sort of the story of how last week went. Maybe Razork has some other options that he can go ahead and go into, but it's also entirely likely that Elyoya could come into the series, say, hey, it's fine if Razork gets one of his farming early game junglers. I'm just going to pick the Jarvan. We're going to win this thing before 16 minutes, you know?
I mean, it's crazy how influential these junglers are to the success of their teams, right? We talk so much about them because of how pivotal they are, and Razork's early game, a lot of the conversations I've had about Fnatic have been, if Razork isn't getting ahead, Fnatic isn't getting ahead, and they're not looking good. Whereas Elyoya, if he's not syncing up with Hylissang, we heard from Mac, when they look their strongest is when Hilly and Elyoya are on the same page and they're connecting. So which jungler shows up today is going to be instrumental in the success of both these teams.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you take a team that like needs to break an early farming jungler or something like this, it is your jungle and support sort of walking in, disrupting, putting down vision, making it so at the very least you're slowing down the clear, or you're killing them, or you're forcing them to base, any of these things. Anything you can do to slow down that clock that's winding up when you're playing the nonsense like the Karthus, you have to do, and that's jungle support.
Nonsense. Discord said 53% for Elyoya and 47% for Razork. So super close. Let's get into the bot lanes then. Let's start with the ones who we always talk about and get all the praise. The marksmen, the carries. We have Carzzy up versus Noah, and I feel like we talk about Carzzy so much, so I feel like my desk is also going to favor him in terms of this matchup.
I feel like there's been such a evolution of Carzzy, because mechanically he's always been very talented, but I feel like in winter he was running it down quite a bit, getting caught left and right. In spring that slowed down a lot, and that managed, you know, put them all the way into a championship position, and they won it because Carzzy became more and more stable. And now coming into summer, I feel like Carzzy together with Nisqy, they've been the most consistent players, and that's such a crazy thing to say when it comes to Carzzy's gameplay, because the man has a reputation.
Yeah, it's crazy to think at the beginning of the split, all we were singing were Noah's praises, right? The KDA king, the man that didn't die, the person that it seemed to put on any AD carry he could find success on. But now as the meta has shifted ever so slightly, that consistency, that silent consistency in a way for Carzzy has just kind of carried the Mad Lions through, and now he's become this massive carry factor that, again, if it wasn't for Broken Blade last week, I really feel that he could have single-handedly carried a game against G2.
100%, and I think, you know, how can we talk about bot lane without talking about the supports? I think the key change-up for Fnatic was the fact that the game became a lot more dynamic. Everything was around playing through bottom side, and when I think about a player that can connect with the game super well, I think of Mad Lions as Hilly-san. I think when it comes to playing a dynamic game and being able to contest a 3v3 mid lane, maybe doing a surprise gank into top side and finding those dive angles, that is where Hilly thrives. And I think that's where Fnatic also struggled in that transformation, because now Fnatic were forced to play a very different game where Trimby needs to play the engaged supports.
It's funny because you almost just sparked my memory thinking back to expectations at the start of the year with the Carzzy Hylissang bot lane, because everyone was saying this is going to be a disaster. Right? Like two very good players, but they're the loose cannons, you know, like Charlie Kelly in Always Sunny, right? Wild card, they're going nuts, but they were so good back in Winter Split, right? Like connecting up, dominating the 2v2, like even the Lucian Nami, like early on, was looking very solid for them. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to see how different your perception of a player can be from when you see it on paper to then seeing almost 300 days of it, and they've been lights out.
Hey, it's Noah and Trimby that got the favor of the Discord vote. 69% of the. It says actually in the teleprompter, the producer who put it in put nice. That's
why wouldn't he?
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Indeed. But yeah, of course I would say they never work without each other, but Carzzy sometimes is left to his lonesome, so we'll see how that happens. Let's talk about the top lane as well, and this might be a contentious one because I feel like it's so hard to quantify with the fact that Wunder is in that top lane, and he last week went from strength to strength in each of his games, but of course there's Chasey, who has caught quite a lot of flack recently.
I think Chase, if you look at his whole year, I think he had a very impressive year.
Oh, yeah.
Just in terms of the recent play, especially in summer where Mad Lions struggled, that's where a lot of the Chasey stock went down. But when I think of Mad Lions at their best, it is when they are smacking down top laners. They find the dives with, for example, the Camille. They find the Renekton gameplay, the 2v2 gameplay that we so much love, even so far as the Jace. This is where Mad Lions is at their strongest. We even see Hylissang coming into the action, and if the matchup allows it on bottom side, you know that Hilly's going to find these timings, and Chasey is mechanically talented enough to, of course, find ways to carry the game.
I mean, I feel like for anyone that's listened to the LEC enough will have heard this discussion before, but when Mad won Spring, it was when they were enabling Chasey. That was his incredible Jace split. It was when he was just dominating the top side of the map, and we just haven't seen a huge amount of that recently. The question is, will that be the game plan today? Because Wunder is a man that can weather any storm. He proved that last week, and he's a player that, as you rightly said, Shox, only continue to gain confidence throughout that series.
I do want to tone that down a little bit
Oh, you're
because
gonna
the
temper
game 1, game
expectations?
2, Wonder definitely received
He
the
was
hurt.
left alone, man.
Yeah, he was, but I think that's what's happening again today, and I think Elyoya is going to be living up in topside, right? If Wonder is going to be locking in the Orns of the world, the Nars, the tanks, like, give me a Chasey Aurelia, let him go nuts up in the topside, especially if Elyoya is going to live up there. Like, we know the heights that Chasey can achieve. I think you draft into that and look to break it up.
That should be the way, but of course there's Wonder, maybe the ace up the sleeve of Fnatic. Let's hear what he had to say.
I knew that they were gonna be needing a substitute top laner for the next week, right? Yeah, I mean, I didn't start playing until after this, like, I mean, I knew basically the day before, and then I was like, okay, yeah, with a week preparation, I can become good enough, I think, that I will not be a liability, and I can see us winning. But of course, like, it was always like a struggle in my head, you know, like, this could end up backfiring and looking really bad on me if I don't perform, or if I just get completely rolled over, which most people would do in this position, going in without having played like any competitive games for like many months and playing like matchups that a lot of these players have played for 3 months just straight. I mean, in the end, I'm happy that I did it, but it was like a battle I had like with hesitation and stuff, like, should I do this or not? This ended up being like a good redemption arc, right? Like, I ended up having an alright showing. I think I kind of like played better and better as the series went on, and I kind of learned like what BDS like to do as a team. So yeah, I mean, this will for sure puts like a good spotlight on me. I was still hoping to make it back to the LEC next year, regardless if I took this gig or not, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm happy about how it turned out. Of course, like coming in and having to, I'm basically just helping the team, right, and helping some of the friends that I've made here in Fnatic. And biggest things that I want to accomplish when I'm done playing is have like a legacy and have people remember me for something that I've done, hopefully good in this case. And I think this kind of shows that I'm on the right path, at least.
On the right path indeed. In fact, gets to play here, gets to maybe make it to another LEC finals, and 84% of the fans on Discord are favoring with Wonder in this one. You know, there are a lot of questions, and I'm going to put you on the spot. We have a bit of time. I want to know your predictions, and I want you to motivate it and really sell me on why you think it's going to happen. You want to go first, Thunder? I don't know who goes
I can
first.
kick it off.
Vedius.
I can kick it off.
Vedius.
Vedius first?
Sorry.
I go first, it's not a problem.
Sorry.
I think that this is genuinely a difficult one to call. I'm expecting it to be an incredibly close series, but the big thing for me is I think that Fnatic just have a better understanding of how to play the meta right now. They seem to have so much more confidence in their mid lane champion picks. Razork seems to be finding his footing with how he wants to play. Fnatic seem to have a lot of options, and I'm assuming with the extra week, Wonder will better found his spot in the meta. So I'm going to predict 3-2 Fnatic. I think that they will be able to edge out in this series.
Yeah, I'm also going with Fnatic. I really favor Razork right now in terms of his jungle pool, especially. Like, I don't expect these games to be like full-on decided very early on. I expect this to be very team fight focused, scaling a little bit more towards the later stages of the game. That's where the Razork champion pool is going to come absolutely online. The only way I see this skewing is if we see like early game jungle for Elyoya and him really dominating through either of the solo lanes and just busting the map open through that. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that reliably enough. I'm only going to give him one game. It's 3-1 Fnatic.
No faith here so far in the Mad Lions. Yamato.
Honestly, on my end, you know, I spent 2 years on Fnatic. I basically bleed black and orange. I feel like the LEC, the fans, they yearn for a G2 Fnatic of old. All of the Fnatic fans, everything is kind of pointing towards the direction of a perfect storm, but I can keep listing things that actually don't matter when it comes to competition, because I believe Mad Lions is going to take it home today.
Oh!
I think Hylissang is going to be the crucial factor today. I think in terms of playing a dynamic game, I think playing and analyzing what the enemy team is bad at and punishing that, I think Mad Lions have proven time and time again, as best of fives progress, they become better. They will understand Fnatic's pattern. Maybe game one, maybe draft going to be lost. Maybe second one will be sloppy. But as things continue, I think Mad Lions level up, and they've gone through hell and fire and back, and they have experience with this 5-man roster to take such a series all the way to 3 wins.
He's convinced me. I don't know about you guys.
It's the Yamato speech. It's a very effective tool.
Yes.
Oh, the classic Yamato speech.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we won't talk about.
I mean, honestly, like the thing is, I can see it. Like, I think this is a very, very close
3-2,
matchup.
yeah.
And so
I think it
much
will
of it
be.
depends on the read of how these two teams are coming in, how much Mad Lions want to lean into playing that very different style, especially on the top side of the map. That's the choice they have to make, or if they want to play the same game as Fnatic here.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed to be a banger regardless. Fnatic
God
and Mad
bless.
Lions have been building up
Yes.
to this, and I'm expecting with this incredible crowd that we're going to get an incredible series.
It is. I'm really excited for it as we're counting down to meeting the teams on this stage. So many different stories across the board of players who have never made it to a final, finally want to win the trophy. Players that have been there. Players that out of nothing have come back and maybe they can win another final, but first they have to get there. It's a spot in the grand finals here in Montpellier Occitanie on the line today in front of this amazing crowd. It's time to find out who will face the Goliath G2 Esports tomorrow. It's the Mad Lions versus Fnatic.